Texas is back at being mediocre. So Texas has to play Maryland again. They do the home and home series. They played them last year and lost. When everybody said last year that they thought Texas was back, guess what? They're definitely back this year. Or not. And I just got to say this. Stop putting so much hype behind these teams. This is a prime example of saying a team is back all the time. Miami also fell victim to this too against LSU. We can't constantly say a team is back being this national power that they were just because they've had a good season last season. Texas had a serviceable season. Miami had a great season except for losing 3 games at the end of the year. But we got to stop doing that. Because when you do that, you look really silly with saying this team is back. They're back. They're back. Because they're not. They're back at being mediocre. Ever since Mac Brown left, Charlie Strong in his 3rd year, Texas is back.
Tom Herman, he's the genius from Houston. They're back.
They're not back yet. Will they probably be back? I hope for Texas Nation because Austin might burn to the ground if Texas keeps being mediocre. LSU was taking on Texas, and the level of pettiness and hatred I have to the Texas Longhorns is just, I don't really know what it is. I've just never liked that school, never liked that team. And look, I am fully on the camp that there was never a rivalry between Nebraska and Texas because Nebraska would have to win those games, and Nebraska never really could. What I'll say about Texas, I'm glad they lost. Very, very happy, because again, we keep hearing this constantly. We've even heard it with Nebraska going into the season. The hype levels going in. Texas is not back. Texas won't be back. Texas
is what Nebraska is.
I've just hated Texas long before 2009. Every single season, they start the season saying Texas is back, Texas is back, Texas is back, Texas is back. That's all you hear. And I understand that Texas kind of has that name brand mentality to it, but dude, 2 years in a row, they lost to Maryland, okay? And yes, they beat Oklahoma, and yes, they got back to the Big 12, and they managed to beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, and those are great accomplishments. But it seems like no matter what happens, every single year, they are hyped up to be this thing that's going to represent the Big 12. Very windy in my house. I'm gonna have to shut my window. It just doesn't happen because of moments like this. They get a big, hyped up, legitimate competition coming into their house in Austin, Texas, and they lose. And all credit to LSU. They look unbelievable. It just sucks that they're in the same division as the almighty Alabama and Lord Nick Saban. The moral of the story is Texas isn't back. Taking on Texas, wearing a weird uniform combination. Who would have thought purple and red go together? I don't think it does. What do? They win. They take out the other ranked team from the Big 12. They win 37-27. So that's 3 ranked teams in the Big 12, all 3 losing. And it really just goes to show you this was one of the biggest, just absolute failures from a Power 5 conference I've ever seen. This is the biggest just faceplant ever. It's tied for 3 teams: Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Texas, because they completely just slaughtered any chance the Big 12 has. College football hangover. The Big 12. Wow, they're a
full-blown dumpster fire right now.